Hello. Hey, Montoria. How you doing, boo? Well, welcome, honey. It doesn't take us long to read. We're just reading chapter for chapter, girl. Because it's pretty rough. It's pretty rough, honey. We might slide through the next book if the chapters are as small as this. Probably two chapters at a time in the next book. But for now, we're going to take it slow. Wait, hold up. What? Hey, Patty McPatty's thing. Hey, Jennifer. Here we go. Here. Mm. Do 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 do. Hey, Cheryl, Jennifer. Honey, the first two chapters, Matoria, they are like, right? It should be like a book reading. Thank you, Shan, boo. A book read, a tuberty. A book read, a tuberty type thing, girl. Hey, Fifi. What's going on, boo? Let me mute my computer. I was already on mute. Here we go. But yes, y'all. The first two chapters, girl. What's up, Curio Lover? How you doing, honey? Please like the video as y'all come in. We know we're going to have some haters here. What the hell? Okay, I think we on mute now. Oh. I thought you came back here with a cup. Hey, Miss Pam, you ready, honey? Is y'all ready to get to it? Cause, honey, we on chapter 3. Ooh, y'all, I forgot to put. I gotta go back and edit my daggone thumbnail. Chapter 3 of the Untold Secrets by Douglas E. Hobson, honey. So here we go, y'all. Gonna like this video as y'all come in. We got 4 haters in here, or 4 people watching us on the TV. 5 haters or 5 people watching us on the television. Gonna like the video. Okay, honey. It was for the unemployed. Ain't that some bullshit, Matoria? Girl, I went over there and I ain't even comment no more on that video after she said that, child. Don't bring down my spirit yet. Matoria, girl, don't come over here reminding us, bringing down our spirit, child. Mm-mm. Honey, I ain't gonna talk about it no more. I'm gonna leave it at that. All right. Chapter 3, The Man in the Mirror. I often ask the question, is it okay to feel angry with God? Bad things that happen aren't God's fault, but it is human response to blame him. I tell parents that it is okay to get angry with God. He is a big and mighty God. He can take it, but it is not okay to sit on a squalor of the angle and let it fester into bitterness. I don't know. I'm not familiar with the squalor. To sit on the squalor, I guess, of that angle and let it fester into your bitterness. And it is not okay to take your anger and frustration out on anyone else. I had 2 options. I was 8 years old to go live with my grandparents or try this once again with my mother, the woman who had caused me so much pain, agony, heartache, and grief. In my early childhood, crying tantrums and clinginess were reactions of separation I experienced from my mother. My separation anxiety began before my first birthday, and it lasted until I was 4 years old. But both intensity level and timing of separation anxiety was extreme. I experienced a continuation or reoccurrence of intense separation anxiety during my elementary school years and beyond. My separation was so excessive, it interfered with my normal activities like school and friendships. This wasn't a normal stage of development, but it was a serious emotional problem that was characterized by extreme distress when the state took me away from my mother. I became agitated. Thank you, babe. I became agitated at just the thought of being away from my mom. And I always complained of sickness to avoid playing with friends or attending school. I suffered all types of child abuse sexually. I was subject to masturbation, intercourse, fondling, oral sex, and vaginal penetration with my mother, and anal penetration from my uncle. I was forced to have sexual intercourse with my mother and anal sex with my uncle. I was tied to beds, strangled and with extension cords, locked in closets for days at a time without food, beaten for hours, and sold to another person so my mother and uncle could get their fix. I was forced to perform oral sex in front of others on camera. My innocence was used. I was cored into doing excuse me, into doing something I didn't want to do, and they called it love. They used to say to me, "You love me, don't you?" But then all the control I had, I learned that if I did everything for them and nothing for me, it was called loving them. Because of not being able to tell anyone, I felt distance from other children and distance from other people. I felt a sense of responsibility older than my years. I had to guard my tongue. I lost my sense of spontaneity. What the hell? I lost my sense of spontaneity. I don't know what the fuck that is. Now, usually it'll be a spontaneously, but this is spontaneity. Spontaneity. Miss Pam, what is that? The hell? I don't understand that. Okay. Instead of being protected by my uncle, I was made to feel responsible for him. I was afraid of being alone with my mother. I was afraid of knowing that she might visit and I would end up with excuses in case she didn't get out of seeing her or being with her. I was afraid of strangers. I was afraid of open spaces where there was nowhere to hide. I was afraid of bed. Okay, Miss Pam. Miss Pam said she know what I'm trying to say. I was like, what the hell? I can't say it, honey. Okay. One way to cope with sexual abuse, I had suffered to repress or forget that it ever happened. Even in the absence of consciousness memories, certain experiences can trigger intense feelings of fear, nausea, and despair. Some of these triggers for me are sound, smell, taste, words, and facial expressions. Not only this, I dealt with nightmares. It was not unusual for men to experience trouble sleeping and to have nightmares following child sexual abuse or sexual assault. The trouble with the nightmares is that they can bring back painful, upsetting memories associated with sexual abuse and sexual assault. My nightmares occurred years after my abuse ended. They can appear from nowhere. The abuse leaves lasting scars. Some of these scars are physical, but emotional scarring has had long lasting effects throughout my life, damaging my sense of self and my ability to have a healthy relationship my ability to function at home, at work, and at school. If I couldn't trust my mother, who could I trust? Abuse by my mother damaged the most fundamental relationships in my life as a child. Without this base, it was very difficult to learn to trust people or to know who was trustworthy. They led me to having difficulty maintaining relationships due to the fear of being controlled or abused. It also led to unhealthy relationships because the adult in me didn't know what a good relationship was. I was told repeatedly as a child that I was stupid and no good. It was very difficult to overcome these narratives. I experienced them as reality. Sexual abuse survivors struggle with the stigma and shame surrounding the abuse, and they often feel damaged. Child abuse is more than bruises and broken bones. While physical abuse might be the most visible, other types of abuse, such as emotional abuse and neglect, also leave deep lasting scars. As an abused child, I could never express my emotions safely. This Thus my emotions got stuffed down and they came out in unexpected ways. Survivors like me who have suffered from child abuse can struggle with unexplained anxiety, depression, and anger. 4 years went by quickly. Oh Lord, we finally to the shit. We out of 8 years old. All this happened at 8. Yeah. Carrie, child, I had to take a sip, honey. Look, let me find my cigarette back up, baby. We just not getting to the teenage year. I almost skipped ahead to see how far we got in chapter 3, honey. Okay. 4 years went by quickly. I was 3 weeks away from my discharge date. My bad, y'all. I don't know who that was. 4 years went by quickly. I was 3 weeks away from my discharge date. I was about to include my time at Kids Peace. Wait a minute. I was about to conclude my time at Kids Peace, where I struggled to stay alive, not commit suicide, and deal with anger, depression, rejection, forgiveness, and abandonment. It was so hard to forgive, and I had been questioning whether I had really forgiven them or was this some type of trick from the enemy to get me back to get me to go back to the same place things could happen again. The state of New Jersey suggested putting me back with my mother. Baby, somebody need to investigate the state of New Jersey. Now, I'm just going to have to stop right here and put this out there. Now, I'll be trying not to put my 2 cents in. But how many times the state going to put this child back with his mama? Is it just me? Okay, well, let me keep on. The state of New Jersey suggested putting me back with my mother. Out of all the people in the world, why put me back with her? I was angry as hell because I was afraid. Had she received help? Had she asked God to forgive her? Or was she pretending that she was better just to get me back in the house to kill me and hide my body? Like she told me she would do if I ever told anybody what was going on. These thoughts were running through my head, and it didn't make me any calmer when I thought about them. Matori said state New Jersey say like Baltimore, baby. I don't know. I don't know why they keep wanting him back with his mama. It don't make sense at this point. It shocked me the first time. Okay. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't concentrate in class, and my attitude was horrible. But all I could do was pray excuse me. All I could do was pray that this time things would be different. Some years had passed, so hopefully she changed. As I walked into my social worker's office to discuss my discharge plans, my heart began to race and I began to sweat sweat baldly. I didn't know what was going on, and finally I screamed. My social worker looked at me and said, "Are you okay?" She sent me to the nurse, and the nurse took my vital signs. My blood pressure was high, my temperature was high, and I was shaking. The psychologist said I was suffering from separation anxiety. That was a foreign term to me. So he began to explain what it was and how I was being affected by it. I experienced fear and panic when I thought about going to school in the morning. I would always tell my counselor I felt nauseous and I had a headache. I always found an excuse to not to go to school. I had repeated nightmares involving the theme of separation, and I was always reluctant to go to school or elsewhere because of fear of separation. Was I ready to return home? Was I completely comfortable? Hold on. Was I completely comfortable to go back down memory lane? Or should I purposely sabotage this my discharge and stay in the place where I felt safe, secure, and in my comfort zone? It seemed the closer I got to my discharge date, the more afraid I became. I went to talk to Khalif, and for the first time ever, I opened up to him. I handed him an envelope. It was a letter that I received from my mother about 2 weeks prior to us meeting. When he read the letter, the expression on his face was something I never seen before in my life. He was angry, and I could feel it. The letter was harsh, and my mother said things would be the same when I came home. My uncle was staying at the house, and she didn't believe anything that I said was going on because her brother would never do anything to hurt me. Khalif called his supervisor and explained the letter to her. The social worker also read the letter and said they had to do an investigation to determine if going home was the best option or if they had to transfer me to another facility. I would be staying at Kids Peace until they figure things out. Ooh. Mm, mm. Baby, mama wrote a threatening letter, baby. I don't know what the hell. That bitch would have been locked up now. God damn. Some folks, yeah. Shit, you don't wish jail on some nobody, but goddamn, some folks just need it now. What the hell? Mm-mm. Okay. 2 weeks 2 weeks went by and still no decision had been made. I was worried because maybe my mother had convinced them, as she had done in the past, that it wasn't the way it sounded and that I would be safe in her care. On December 15, 1990, Kids Peace decided to send me to another facility in Portsmouth, Virginia, okay, called the Pines Treatment Center. Ooh, the Pines down here, ain't child. Okay. They specialized in treating adolescents with behavior and mental disabilities. Right, that's what the Pines is. And I would stay there for 2 years, and my mother wasn't allowed to allow any contact with me unless it was through the counselors at the Pines. It took it took 3 weeks for the process to go through for them to officially accept me. I was so happy not to go home because I was going to be safe. While awaiting to be while waiting the acceptance paperwork, I met with Khalif about 5 times. I had begun to really open up to him. I expressed my feelings and started trusting him a little. As I opened up, I also started to show more and more aggression, and it caused another relapse. I was I was trying to figure out who I was. Was I at fault? Was I a victim? Was I a boy? Was I a girl? And was this normal? Identity crisis began, and I failed to attain ego identity during my adolescence. In this stage of my life, I didn't believe in myself. I had a feeling of not knowing my real self. My identity crisis was one of the most difficult conflicts that I experienced during my development. During my adolescent age, I went through physical growth, sexual maturation, and internalization of ideas about how others viewed and thoughts about me. The way I was raised has largely influenced the way I live in my adulthood. Because I never experienced love during my childhood, it is hard for me to express love to others in my adulthood. I feel my mother had an obligation to create a conductive environment for me to show me love and provide for me. I was being physically restrained by the staff because of my aggressive behavior. I didn't know how to express my anger verbally because I was never allowed to. But punching and shoving and fighting seemed to release me inside, and it felt good to be free. However, the inner demon of the anger had bound me, and my mind was still entangled. Oh, excuse me. Oh, excuse me, y'all. I'm burping. I hope y'all ain't hear me. My mind is still entangled in the pits of molestation, depression, hate, anger, frustration, unforgiveness, abandonment, bitterness, and low self esteem. I was unsure for myself. I didn't believe others accepted me. I wasn't participating in activities as often. I allowed myself to be treated poorly, and I had a hard time standing up for myself. I didn't expect to do well, so I avoided challenges. I gave up easily, and I was unable to bounce back from my mistakes. How many of us had experienced this type of warfare and never understood the root of the cause? Okay? 3 weeks passed, and the paperwork was finally approved. They were arranging transportation from Pennsylvania to Virginia. While packing my suitcase, tears began to run down my face because I hadn't had the chance to experience anything normal that a child was supposed to experience by this age. Everything had been turmoil. In my mind, I was thinking, how would this transition go? Having to get used to new people, new living situations, and a new atmosphere. Going into a new place brought along new fears. I also was tired of living in fear. I was tired of being in places where I had to depend on others I didn't know, which forced me into having to trust people, which was not in my thought pattern. How could I trust anyone at this moment in my life? Y'all thought that was it, didn't I know? I was trying to drink. I want to trust people, but there's a little voice in the back of my head warning me to stay safe. It is better to be alone than to ever subject myself to even the chance that someone might abuse me emotionally the way my mother did. I am so afraid of trusting anyone. I feel paralyzed emotionally. I am a 10-year-old boy who has never had a meaningful relationship with his mother. I feel so alone in my life. Wait, I feel so alone, and that my life has been a complete and total waste of time. I yearn for someone to love me, but I am unable to let anyone close enough to love. I am a fixer, but I am unable to fix me. I am damaged goods, unable to live the life that I see others living, unable to love or trust anyone. I have serious trust issues. I believe that everyone will eventually let me down, but really it's no more than I deserve. It has become more and more difficult to remain vulnerable, trusting, and open to life in this era of uncertainty. Global upheaval. Oh wait, oh shit. Global upheaval, divorce, and disrupted family life. Right, and a disrupted family life. Okay. Fortunately, many of us have friends and family members we can count on, or a relationship partner we can turn to a safe haven where we can let down our guard, relax, and be ourselves. But sometimes, even here, things can get rough. When everyday stresses intrude into our protected space, or our unexpected relationship problems disturb your calm, we may begin to feel insecure. We may also begin to doubt our partner's love, loyalty, and trustworthiness without realizing it. We may react to these doubts by pulling away from our loved ones in unsubtle ways. Why do we why does trust rest on such shaky foundations? On the other hand, wouldn't it be risky to be naive and trusting? What kind of trust issues do we face today that are virtually non-existent only a decade ago? How can we best deal with events or situations that threaten to intrude our trust and confidence? I had finally settled into Pines Treatment Center, but the cycle was beginning all over again. All my anger projected through violence. During my first 2 weeks there, I got into 7 fights. I believe it was my mother's physical punishment and violence, which also related to victimization and violent fantasies. Inha- Inhibited temperament was the only personal character. Ooh, I must be drunk, y'all. Okay, let me start that over. Inhibited temperament was the only personality characteristic that was predicted aggression. Okay, I got that out. All right, which suggested possible connections with the isolated, because I had such a hard time showing respect for authority due to the fact that everyone with authority whom I had trusted had betrayed me. I had a hard time following structure, responding to simple directions, and completing tasks. It seems like all the levels measurable behavior. I was falling further and further behind. For one reason or another, I never learned the problem solving skills I needed in order to avoid getting into physical fights. As a result, I developed ineffective coping skills. This place was nothing like Kids Peace. We were in a building that had rooms. We weren't allowed to go outside. The staff were unprofessional. They would talk to us any kind of way, but they expected us to be too polite and respect them. They put him in jail. When they screamed at me, it took me back to the trauma of beatings from my mother. There were times when I was bold enough to stand up to the staff and tell them I wasn't scared of them, and I dared them to try and restrain me. I had the strength of 10 grown men when I got upset and rage. Mm. And that is the end of chapter 3, honey. So, I'm going to have to start writing some stuff down. Because I heard a few things in there. What y'all think? Did y'all hear what I heard? She's... Tracy Sari said this identifies with so many people in this sector. Hey, NYW. Please like the video as y'all come in. That was the end of chapter 3, honey. Oh, Lord. So they put him in the Pines. The Pines down here is for children with behavioral problems. So it seemed like instead of them trying to get him help and get him somewhere safe to go, it was like he kind of sort of like got punished on the slick, to be honest. I'm just saying. Yes, Tan real. Mm-hmm. I know, right, Layla? Just one spot to another. Now, I really want to know what happened to the grandmama, because he said something about the grandmama, and this the first time we didn't heard him say something about the grandma. And he been in what, 10 foster homes and down there. Well, like, where the hell grandmama been all this time? Where did mama get it from? Is this where she got it from? No, damn, they sure ain't, honey. And ain't no help, and ain't helping nobody. Sure ain't. They all abusing that child. Yeah. Like, God, dog. Ain't nobody to be trusted, honey. Nobody. But y'all, that was part 3. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to see what's up with the grandmama, honey. But that was the end of chapter 3. Y'all already know how we do. We're going to be over here again next Thursday for chapter 4. See what's cracking with this, honey. You're welcome, honey. You have a good night, boo. Grandma didn't want to be sued by grandchild, so he just let him go or something, honey. Yes, Bird was fighting everybody, child. Was fighting everybody, honey. But y'all, I am gonna holler at y'all later. Y'all already know my weekend start tonight. I think Miss Pam is going live because she know I want to know what the heck that word was. Okay. Children are so innocent, they took away their child innocent from him. Yes. From day one, honey. That was some sick stuff, child. I wonder what happened with the sisters and things. I don't know. But child. All right, y'all. She said it go by too quick. Mator, we got to get to you a little bit at a time, girl. This is my first time reading it too now, so I ain't been ahead on y'all because y'all know I would have came in here and said something by mistake if I had read it ahead. So, but y'all, I'm finna go over here to Miss Pam trying to see if she finna go live. If not, I don't know what I'm gonna do, honey. I might just chill out, tuck in, you know. So y'all have a good night. And don't y'all forget we're having the surprise raffle tomorrow. So if y'all want to get in, y'all know y'all can enter up until we come over here and push the live button. Push the live button. So y'all just know that. Also, we having the first members only raffle on Saturday. Yes. So I'm gonna see y'all then. I know, Lady Key, you know how that go. That's why I be trying to go on my main page and tell y'all I'm coming over here. But all right, I'ma holler at y'all later. Okay, Miss Pam says she gonna be live in 5 minutes, y'all. Honey, we gotta go over there and see what Miss Pam got back. I think this is gonna be interesting. Interesting. She said I unlocked my cell phone. I'm just saying, honey. All right, y'all. Let's see what these motherfuckers been up to, honey, behind the scenes. See y'all later. See y'all over there at Pam Place.